Hey there, Saki here from Sakitech. In today's video, I want to share over 25 plus tips, tricks, and hidden features for the iPhone SE. These fantastic tips will surely enhance your use of your new iPhone SE and will even benefit other iPhone owners. So grab your iPhone and follow along as I share some incredible tactics for your iPhone. Let's dive in. So if you launch Safari and you type in an address into the address bar and you click go, just about 100% of the time it takes you to the mobile version of that website. Now there is a way to request the actual desktop website. All you do is press and hold the refresh button on Safari, and then it's going to bring up a secret menu that says request desktop site. Tap on that, it's going to take you to the full version of that website that you would see on a desktop PC or a laptop. Next up, let me show you quickly how to clear the RAM on your phone. Press and hold the power button until slide to power off appears, and then press and hold the home button, and that's going to clear the RAM. Just press and hold it until you go to the home screen, and the moment the home screen appears, that actually clears the RAM in the background. Let's move on. Alright, so next tip has to do with your video camera. As you know, the iPhone comes with an advanced video camera that can record in 1080p in 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, or 4K video. I just want to show you quickly how you can toggle between these options. Now first and foremost, let's launch the camera, and I just want you guys to know when you first launch the camera and you go to the video mode, by default it is recording at 1080p in 30 frames per second. That's just a default option. You simply have to glance at the black area in the bottom right to confirm this. If there's nothing going on over there, that means you're recording at 1080p in 30 frames per second. Let me show you how to modify those options. Go into the settings, scroll down where it says photos and camera, and then scroll down again and go to record video. And here's where you tweak all the options. As you can see, you have four options: 720p at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 30 frames per second, which has a check mark next to it. That means it is the default. And then you can switch to 1080p at 60 frames per second by simply tapping on that option. And quickly pay attention to the block of text at the bottom over here. It shows you that the higher the resolution and the higher the frames per second, the more space your video takes. And also, in the case of 1080p at 60 frames per second, your video is going to take more space, but it's also going to be much more smooth. So just keep those things in mind. Let's get out of here and launch the camera. I'm going to show you something real nice. So if you go back into camera, if you look at that bottom block, now it says 60 frames per second. So you can tell at a glance at what frames per second your video is being recorded at, and also at what resolution. Let's do the same thing with the 4K. Let's go back into settings, pick 4K at 30 frames per second, go back into camera, and at the video, now it says 4K. So you can always tell at what resolution you are in fact recording. Now you can do the same thing with slow motion recording. So let's go back into settings, go back into photos and camera, and right at the bottom it says record slow motion. You do have two options. You can do 1080p at 120 frames per second or 720p at 240 frames per second, which is going to give you super slow motion. And if you go back into the camera and if you scroll over to slow-mo, at the bottom block, you're not going to see anything. If you don't see anything, that means it's being recorded at 240 frames per second. If you pick this option and go back to the camera, at the bottom, you're going to see 120 frames per second at 1080p, and that is how you distinguish and switch between available options. Let's move on. So the next tip has to do with locking individual notes. So if you launch your notes application, you can actually individually lock specific notes that you think are sensitive information. So let's say this note to me was very private and I wanted to lock it so nobody else can see it unless they know the password or unless they have a fingerprint registered to unlock the note. So let me show you how to get that done. So on the home screen, click on settings, scroll down to where it says notes, and then tap on the password field. And here you're going to have two options. Number one, you're going to have to set up a traditional password such as numbers or letters. And number two, you're going to enable Use Touch ID. And that's going to allow you to view locked notes just by using your fingertips. So let's go back in the Notes application. I'm going to show you how to lock the note. Tap on Notes, tap on that icon on the top right, and from here, choose Lock Note. And once you tap on Lock Note, it's going to ask you to put in your password, which is the password you picked under the Notes settings. So put the password in and click OK, and then it's going to allow you to lock or unlock this note. Read that note. It says tap the lock icon in the toolbar or lock your device to hide the contents. So let's tap the lock icon in the toolbar. And there we go. The note is now locked. Let me go back out and go back in just to show you how it works. So let's say somebody taps on this note and goes inside. It's going to say the note is locked, and you can tap on View Note, and then it's going to ask you for your fingerprint. You put that in, it unlocks the note. Absolutely fantastic. You can do this on any note that you please. Alright, so the next tip has to do with a secret menu that you can actually enable that is going to float about on your screen. It's called the Assistive Touch. So let's go into the settings to enable this. So go to General and go to Accessibility, and then scroll down where it says Assistive Touch right over there, and simply enable the option. And the moment you enable it, you'll see a little menu that just popped up. Let's go back to home screen, and you can take this thing and you can put it anywhere that you please. It can float and sit any place on the screen that you want. So let's see what you can do with this thing. First and foremost, this can be used as the software version of the home button. So let's tap on it, tap home, and as you can see, it performs the same function. But if you look at it, there's more options sitting inside Assistive Touch. As you can see, I just invoked Siri, so that's one option using the Assistive Touch. You can even bring the notifications panel down without even having to actually pull it down from the top. So just tap on it and the notifications panel drops down. You can do the same thing with the control center. So let's go back home, tap on Assistive Touch, and tap on Control Center. And as you can see, it came right up. Fantastic. You can also customize Assistive Touch in the settings menu. So let's go into the settings menu really quick. I'm going to show you how to customize the Assistive Touch to meet your needs. So go to settings and simply tap on Customize Top Level Menu. And from here, if you want to change the function of any icon here, you simply tap on the icon and choose the new function. And as you can see, you in fact have several options. Now there's an option on your iPhone where if you type something in or if you do anything and after that you shake your phone, it brings up a prompt that asks you to undo what you just did. So I just typed something and I shake my phone and the prompt came right up. It says, do you want to undo the typing? Now for some people this may not be desirable, so you can actually disable this function where if you shake your phone, the prompt does not show up. So let's cancel this really quick. Go out, go into the settings, and then go to General and go into Accessibility and look for Shake to Undo, which is right there on the top. Simply tap it and disable this option. There we go. So let's go back into the Notes application, launch it, and type something in, and then shake the iPhone and see what happens. And absolutely nothing happens. And one quick thing I wanted to show on the camera, if you go into the camera and go to the photo, by default there's no grid. You can actually enable the grid, go into the settings, go all the way back to the general menu and look for photos and camera, scroll down a little bit and simply enable the grid, and now you're going to be able to actually see a grid on the camera that's going to allow you to better align your photos. So make sure you guys enable this for better photography. Next thing I want to show you guys is if you pull down the notifications panel, as you can see, you get a sense of translucency, a sense of transparency throughout the notifications panel. You can see a blurred version of the home screen in the background. Now what you can do is you can actually change the color of the notifications panel to a solid black. You can do the same thing for the control center. So if I pull the control center, you still have that sense of translucency, transparency going on. So quickly go into the settings, tap on General, go to Accessibility, and scroll down to where it says Increase Contrast. And from here, choose Reduce Transparency. Just tap on that icon to enable it. Let's go back out and see what the panel looks like now. So pull down the panel, and as you can see, it is solid black. The transparency has disappeared. Now if I go back to the control center, it's going to be solid gray and the transparency has in fact gone. And as you can see, even the bar at the bottom is now a solid gray color. If I was to go back into settings and disable that option and go back out, as you can see, the bar is now transparent. So it really is up to you which type you desire. Alright, so the next tip has to do with enabling restrictions on your iPhone so other people, when they grab your iPhone, cannot do certain things. You have full control. Now, first and foremost, let's go into the settings and scroll down to General and then scroll down to Restrictions. Okay, now when you first tap on restrictions, it's going to ask you to pick a password. So let's tap on it and then click enable restrictions, and boom, it wants you to set a passcode. So let's tap a simple passcode. It's going to ask you to do it one more time, and there we go. There is a lot you can restrict under this menu, and these are amazing features. But let's start off with the basics. Right off the bat, you can see that you can disable Safari, the camera, Siri, FaceTime, AirDrop, and CarPlay. Let me quickly go back to the home screen and take a look at the home screen. You can see Safari, you can see the camera. Let's disable these and see what it looks like. So let's go back into restrictions. It's going to ask you to put your password, pop it in, and then let's disable Safari, disable camera, go back out, and as you can see, those icons have now disappeared. And nobody can ever use them unless you go back in there, put your password in, and remove the restrictions yourself. And observe how you have to put your password in every single time you go into restrictions. So there's no way anybody can hack into this. Let's just enable everything again. And if you scroll down, there's even more options. You can disable iTunes Store and all that. But take a look at the three blue options at the bottom. Installing apps, deleting apps, and in-app purchases. All these three things can be restricted, and that is quite useful if you're giving your phone to somebody else so they cannot install or remove applications. So normally, if I go over here and tap and hold on the screen, you can delete any application you want by tapping the X icon. Maybe that's not something you want other people to do on your phone. So what you want to do is you want to disable that option, and then when you go back out and somebody's playing with your phone, if they tap and hold, that X symbol simply is not going to appear. So there's no way to uninstall these applications without you being present and removing that restriction. Alright, so next up, let's talk about storage management. Go into the settings of your phone, go to General, and scroll down to where it says Storage and iCloud Usage. What I like over here is that you get a snapshot of the local storage on your iPhone, and you also get the snapshot of your iCloud account. From here, you get some useful information. On the top is the local storage. It says that you have an available space of 48.6 gigabytes, and you're currently using 4.9 gigs. If you look at the bottom on the iCloud side, it says your total iCloud storage is 5 gigs, and you're currently using 4.2 gigs of that available storage. Now, you do have the option to tap on Manage Storage and go into some details. So over here, as you can see, GarageBand is taking 1.2 gigabytes of storage space. And my question would be, why? Because I never ever use GarageBand. So simply tap on GarageBand, and once you're inside, you can actually delete this application and get rid of it. So tap on that and confirm the deletion, and now you suddenly have 1.2 gigs of extra storage space. And you can do the same thing with any app on this list. Let's go back, and you can do the same thing with iCloud. You can manage the storage for your iCloud account, and from here you can inspect the numbers, and as you can see, iMovie, for example, is taking a lot of storage space on my iCloud account, which I would like to be freed up. So tap on it, and then simply click Edit, which brings up the deletion menu. So simply click that bar, the red bar, and then click Delete, and that's going to free up some good amount of space on my iCloud account. Fantastic. And next up, let's talk about battery management. So let's go into Settings, and let's scroll down to Battery, and tap it. It's going to go right into the settings. And let me show you guys how to calculate exactly how long your battery lasts after a full charge on your iPhone. Before that though, quickly take a look at the low power mode and battery percentage meter. So as you know, the low power mode is going to save you some battery life. It's going to shut off some background tasks that you do not need. And the battery percentage, if you disable it, kills that percentage symbol on the top status bar. So as you click it on, you can see it says 94% on the top. But let's go down over here, and over here you get a breakdown of which application on your iPhone has been using your battery. You can go by the last 24 hours or the last 4 days. So tap on that, and there's a secret button that you can press right over there that gives you some additional information. So when you press that button that looks like a clock, it actually tells you how much time that application was on the screen and even how much an application was on the background. So if you look at the WhatsApp, it says 21 minutes of the 17% usage was on screen and 19 minutes was in the background. Same thing with the Notes application, 2 minutes on screen and 2 minutes on background. Total battery usage was 2%. This is just a nice and organized way to find out what the heck is going on with your battery usage. And finally at the bottom it says time since last full charge. I have been using my iPhone for 56 minutes and it has been on the standby for 3 hours and 55 minutes since the full charge. So all you have to do is fully charge your phone and let the battery drain all the way down to 1 or 2%, and then come back and look at these two statistics, the usage and standby time, and that's going to give you exactly how long your battery stays alive, both in terms of usage and standby. Nothing can give you a more exact measurement of your battery life on your iPhone. So let's talk about how to hide information from prying eyes. Let's turn off the phone and then turn it back on. And as you can see, right now the phone is locked. So you have to either put your fingerprint or put the passcode. However, even when it's locked, people can still access your notifications and your today's screen that might have some private information. They can also access the control center if they pull from the bottom up. So let me show you guys how to disable access to the control center and the notifications panel from your phone. First, I'm going to show you guys how to hide control center. So let's go into the settings for that. Scroll down, it's right on the top actually. Tap on control center and simply disable access on lock screen. Let's go back to the main settings and I'll show you the notifications panel next. So go into Touch ID and passcode, put in your passcode, and then scroll down to where it says allow access when locked. So from here, you can turn off today's panel, notifications view, Siri, reply with message, and wallet. You can disable access to any of these guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disable access to today and notifications view. Let's go back out to the lock screen, and now as you can see, I can neither access the notifications panel, the today screen, or even the control center. Now let me quickly go back in here and show you one more thing, and let's enable today's view but keep the notifications view disabled and see what that looks like. So enable that, shut off the phone really quick and go back into the screen. Now if you pull down that center, you can access today's screen, but you're not going to be able to access notifications panel. That's usually on the right. So you can in fact customize as you please. Now let me show you a quick tip regarding the fingerprint sensor. Let's go into the settings and let's scroll down to where it says Touch ID and passcode. And if you scroll down a little bit where it says fingerprints, oops, let's fix that real quick. As you can see, it says left thumb and left index. So the iPhone itself does not know which fingerprint you're using. After scanning each finger, you have to tap on that fingerprint and rename each one of these manually just so you guys can keep track of it. So let's just tap on left thumb right now. And as you can see, I can simply edit the name of that finger. I can just keep it as left T. So make sure you guys name your fingers properly as you scan them in, so you can actually keep track of which finger is what in case you want to delete or update any one of these guys. Let's get some more tips. Let's go into the settings. I'm going to show you a batch of tips all together. Go into General, go into Accessibility, and over here, the first thing I want you guys to see is the grayscale option. If you tap grayscale, everything on your phone across the board becomes black and white grayscale mode. This could be great if you want less stress on your eyes, especially when you're reading a book. But as you can see, no matter where I go, everything is black and white, which is fantastic. So let's go back into settings, disable the grayscale mode, but enable the invert colors mode. So this is going to invert the entire color scheme of your phone. So no matter where you go in your phone, in the settings, in the home screen, everything is going to be inverted. Not a bad thing to play with if you just want to have some fun. Fantastic. Let's go back to settings and disable this mode. General, accessibility, turn off. And let's scroll down over here and let's take a look at the couple other options. So the first one over here is you can change the size of the text. You can bolden the text, but you can also change the button shapes. So let's enable that and see what happens to this menu. So as you can see on the top left, you get a button shape. If I go back out, the button shape is still there. If I go back in and disable it, that button shape disappears. So just a quick way to customize your phone. Well, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to sakitech and give this video a thumbs up. Also, follow me on Twitter and Facebook at sakitech online, for which links are in the description below. Have a fantastic day.